Hello and welcome to English in Minutes. And today we are continuing our IELTS podcast series. And this is our second episode. Today we are going to explore a very interesting question. Why don't we read books anymore? Remember to turn on the subtitles and always remember there's a worksheet and a vocabulary sheet connected to this podcast in the comment section. Books have been a part of human civilization for centuries. They have carried stories, history, science, and even imagination across generations. But nowadays, when you look around, you see fewer people holding a book in their hands. Instead, you see glowing screens, phones, tablets, laptops. So, what happened? Why did we drift away from books? Let's break it down step by step. Well, let's start by going back a few decades. In the past, reading was a primary form of entertainment. People would spend hours in libraries, children would wait eagerly for the next adventure book, and families often shared stories from novels. Before television and the internet became mainstream, books were the gateway to the knowledge and imagination. Reading was not just an activity, it was a lifestyle. Think about the classics: Pride and Prejudice, The Count of Monte Cristo, To Kill a Mockingbird. These were household names, and people discussed them the way we discuss Netflix shows nowadays. But as technology advanced, this golden age of reading began to change. Enter television, then the internet, then smartphones. Each step forward in technology took a slice away from the time people dedicated to reading books. Instead of spending a whole evening with 300-page novel, people turned to quick entertainment. Television episodes, YouTube clips, TikTok videos. The content became faster, shorter, more colorful, and more addictive. Now think about it. Why would someone spend 10 hours finishing a book when they can get a 10-minute summary online or even 1 minute TikTok that explain the whole thing? This doesn't mean people stop consuming stories or knowledge. We are still ready, but the format has shifted. Tweets, captions, articles, chat messages, all of these are forms of reading. But do they carry the same depth as a book? That's a question. Another big factor is our attention span. Studies suggest that our attention span has been shrinking, partly because of how digital platforms are designed. Social media reward us with instant likes, comments, and dopamine hits. Books, on the other hand, require patience. You need to sit down, focus, and follow a story or an argument for hours. That's harder in today's fast paced lifestyle. Add to that our busy schedules, work, commuting, family duties. People often say, I don't have time to read. But is it really a matter of time? Or is it about priorities? We do find time to scroll for hours. So maybe books have just slipped lower on the priority list. Now, here an important point: reading hasn't completely died, it has transformed. Audiobooks are blooming. People listen to novels while driving or exercising. Ebooks are available instantly, often cheaper than physical books. Podcasts, just like this one, are becoming the new medium of stories and knowledge. So maybe it's not fair to say we don't read anymore. Maybe we should say we don't read books the way we used to. The format has changed, but the hunger for stories and knowledge is still there. Even with all these new formats, books still hold a special place. Why? because books force you to slow down and think. When you read a novel, you imagine the scene, the characters, the emotions. You create the world in your mind. That kind of deep imagination. Watch a movie or scroll a feed. Books also preserve culture and history in a way that short videos cannot. They are detailed, structured, and carefully crafted. A book often represents years of thought, research, or storytelling, while TikTok video is made in minutes. So while we may not read as much, the value of the reading hasn't disappeared. So what's the future? Will books disappear completely? Well, probably not. Paper books may become more a luxurious passion for book lovers, while the majority will consume stories digitally. Schools will continue to encourage reading because it develops a critical thinking and empathy. And and with AI and personalized learning apps, we may see even more interactive ways of reading in the future. But the truth is, the traditional picture of a person sitting quietly with a book for hours is becoming less common. So, why don't we read books anymore? It's a mix of factors: technology, lifestyle changes, shorter attention spans, and new alternatives like podcasts and audiobooks. But that doesn't mean books are gone. They have simply become one of many ways we consume information and stories. The question is not whether books will survive, but whether we will make space for them in our lives. Because at the end of the day, books give us something that quick digital content rarely can. Thanks for tuning in today. And if you enjoyed this episode, maybe pick up a book tonight for even just for 10 minutes. Share this podcast with your friends, and remember, you can download a worksheet and a vocabulary sheet connected to this podcast from the first comment. Thank you.